guys, so as you know, the game is in a really chaotic state right now, and this update has everybody like furious because Supercell's making crazy changes like I talked about in my last video. And in this video I want to go over this update because they actually are they already have secretly nerfed slash buffed over 40 cards because of the update. Okay, so before I show you the different cards they buffed and nerfed without telling us, remember, this is a secret. They didn't tell any of us about these balance changes. We just know about the future balance changes coming in the next season. Before I show you guys these, I want to tell you the reason why they did it. So apparently the reason why they did it is because they stated in the update that they want more consistent stats to scale across the rarities. So rounding error problems. So this is just like really technical things. Okay, so Mini P.E.K.K.A is getting a damage nerf. As you can see here, it's all these changes are all live in the game. They secretly did it without telling us, just so you know. Mini P.E.K.K.A got a damage nerf, which is crazy because he just got a buff like 2 balance changes ago. Damage buff. Next is the Lava Hound getting a really small damage nerf. Even if these changes are small, I just feel like it's so sketchy of them to just do it without telling us. And some of these changes are just so unnecessary. For example, the Expo, it's getting a damage nerf, and it may seem like a small damage nerf, but the interaction changes that are affected by this are actually pretty huge. Expo 2 shots a skeleton, now it's gonna 3-shot a skeleton, which is really bad for Expo players, and it just makes no sense why they would nerf one of the worst win conditions in the game. So yeah, the Expo players are actually pretty furious right now. It's like they just got attacked for no reason, and I understand their frustration, to be honest. Next is a bowler buff by 1. It's just getting like a 1 HP damage buff. I mean, like, bowlers are really strong cards, so I don't understand why they would do that. It's already really good. Okay, Mega Knight is getting I think this is a typo. Some sort of change to the damage. I don't know if it's a buff or a nerf. I might have to do this research on my own. But let's see. It looks like a buff. 431 to 430, yeah. I mean, sorry, a nerf. It got a 1 HP damage nerf. I mean, hey, I'm actually fine with this, Can't complain. Now the next one is just really shocking to me. One of the cards that was missed in the last balance changes, which was Lightning, one of the strongest cards in the game, it didn't get nerfed, which was crazy to me. But now they're taking it a step further and they're buffing the Lightning Crown Tower damage. As you know, it did 317, now it's doing 318. This is absolutely diabolical. Like, it's April Fool's Day, guys, but I really don't think this one's a joke. They already did their April Fool's Day joke. This should have been the joke. This should have been the joke. This whole update should have been the April Fool's joke. But unfortunately, I don't think it is. Barb Barrel is getting a fucking nerf, I guess. Like, really unnecessary. Baby Dragon is getting a damage buff. Like, again, it's unnecessary, but I'm supportive of it because I play Splash Yard. Okay, the next one. Battle Room is getting a 1 HP damage nerf, which again, I play Bridge Bam, so I really can't complain. But also, there's been some pathfinding issues that we're going to talk about in another video, because, or maybe I'll talk about it at the end of this video, because there's some really interesting things about that. Golem is getting a nerf. I don't know. It looks like a nerf or a buff. I think it's like a rework. I don't know. Just some changes in the damage. Yeah, I don't really. Archer, Magic Archer is getting a nerf. I mean, okay, it's getting a damage nerf and an HP nerf. A lot of people were complaining about this card, to be honest. I don't think it deserves a nerf, but I'm not, like, surprised at the same time, because it is a really strong card. Okay, Witch is getting a damage buff by 1 HP. Void is getting a Crown Tower damage buff by 1 HP. Dark Goblin is getting a damage nerf but an HP buff. Ewis is getting a 1 HP damage nerf, which makes no sense. They just buffed it. Like, come on, it hasn't even been a whole season. And then Bandit is getting a damage buff but an HP nerf. Miner is getting a 1%. Sorry, Prince is getting a 1% damage nerf. And this goes for charge damage and regular damage. Miner is getting a 1% damage buff. Sorry, wow. Why are they buffing Miner, bro? This is like one of the cards that doesn't need a buff. Fisherman is getting a damage buff, 1 HP, and then Evo Wallbreakers are getting a damage nerf. Okay, Drill is getting a Crown Tower damage nerf as well. And then Earthquake is getting a Crown Tower damage nerf. Sorry, Drill is getting a Crown Tower damage buff. Earthquake is getting a Crown Tower damage nerf. And then Lightning buff, Void buff. So, yeah, overall, I think these changes were unnecessary. If they're gonna do balance changes, do it the normal way, the normal process. Don't just implement them in the game like this without telling anybody. I think this is absurd, and there's so many cards that are so unnecessary in this list. And lastly, I want to talk about the new Pathfinding update. They told us in the next update they're implementing true pathfinding, so it's less buggy. But players have noticed things are just not right in the game, and some interactions are just ruining the game. So for example, Battle Ram placed on the outside now ignores buildings in the regular placement. This goes for Hog Rider, this goes for Battle Ram, this goes for, you know, Ram Rider, Cannon Cart, so many different win conditions, Giant, and essentially this is a really big interaction, because if you can't really, if it's on the outside, you have to place the building closer, and this will cause you to, it's just not the optimal placement, and you could lose games because of that, you know, and you could give them more spell value the closer you put the building to the tower, and it's really shitty. See, look, it just fully ignores it. So I think I saw Lucas X Gamer made a really good point about this. So revert the pathfinding update. It's messing up with the buildings, and honestly just a beatdown buff. Like, you play cards in the corner and it's impossible to kite and play buildings in a safe spot, so you don't give lightning value. So he has a really good point. This is just a buff to beat down, because if it's harder to distract the win con, then the more likely it's gonna get to the tower, and it's just gonna be just so much more oppressive. And it's like nerfing defense basically and buffing offense. That's basically what they're doing, and that's the main purpose of beatdown offense. So it's just getting a buff. Overall, I think this whole update has been such a mess, and it's just been so chaotic. It's been one of the worst updates in CR history, and I think even the April Fool's update, I kind of want to make a video about that. And I pressed X by accident and I didn't get the emote, which I'm really upset about, so I hope they compensate me for that. But I think it was a really trash April Fool's joke, and I don't know, I feel like it's just really tone deaf to make an April Fool's joke like that when you know your community and the devs, like, there's a lot of tension because you guys haven't been transparent, and now you just want to make April Fool's jokes and everyone and expect us to just laugh along. Like, no, you can't just make an April Fool's joke. Like, how do I explain it? It's not an April Fool's joke if that's something you would actually do in the game, you know? Anyways, I just think this update is really messy and chaotic, and the devs really need to get their shit together because this is just not it. The game is like falling apart in front of everybody's eyes, and doing secret balance changes, nerfing the pass royale, changing key interactions within the game. All of this is just leading to the downfall of Clash Royale, which it's already on the downfall, but you know what I mean. So anyways, let me know your thoughts on this whole situation of this update, and yeah, I'll keep updating you guys on things.